Russia shared us.
Yeah, Russian Ministry of Defense showed satellite images accusing Turkey that thousands of oil trucks have been heading towards Turkey, that Turkey buys, process, and transport this ISIS oil. What's your comment on that?
Sure. Aware of those reports. I haven't actually seen the photos. Look, we reject outright the premise that the Turkish government is in league with ISIL to smuggle oil across its borders. And we've frankly seen no evidence, none, to support such an accusation. Frankly, we believe Turkey is taking the necessary steps, and Secretary of State Kerry spoke about this earlier today in Brussels, to improve the security of its borders with Syria. Does more need to be done? Certainly. But let me finish. But in cooperation with international partners, these efforts will continue in the coming months and weeks. Talking more broadly about oil smuggling, it is a challenge, what ISIL is doing. It certainly remains, or is necessary, I think, to shut this down. It's a decades-old practice, frankly, that predates ISIL, of illicit trade in this region. And frankly, it's a challenge that stymied ISIL's own ability to generate revenue. What we have seen, in fact, is that ISIL relinquishes ownership and sells its oil at the wellhead in Syria and Iraq. And that oil is sold to smugglers, middlemen, truckers. We talked a couple weeks ago about one of our airstrikes against one of these convoys of trucks. And ISIL gains revenue by extorting tolls, oil transportation within its own territory. And frankly, what we talked about before as well is the fact that, we believe that Assad himself was also one of the purchasers of ISIL's oil. Please finish and then I'll get to you.
So do you mean that these Russian satellite and reconnaissance images are inaccurate?
Are what? I'm sorry.
Inaccurate?
Again, I haven't seen them. I just don't know what to make of them. I don't want to. I've heard secondhand that they don't show much. But again, we don't believe there's any truth to the fact that their claims that the Turkish government is somehow complicit in illegal oil trade with ISIL. It's just not true. And
can you confirm that, in general, ISIL oil can be found in Turkey market?
I can't confirm that, but it wouldn't surprise me, as I talked about, is, there's this decades-old smuggling, frankly, older than decades, smuggling routes along these borders, working with Turkey, as our other international partners, to secure those borders. But that's a hard challenge in that region. It's very mountainous. It's very difficult to get the kind of presence you need. But that's something we're working with Turkey and with others to address. Yeah, please go ahead.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Was the U.S. aware of ISIL's oil being smuggled into Turkey?
We've talked a long time. I mean, we've been very much aware of ISIL's intent and, in fact, ability to cash in on the oil that it's been pumping out. As I just said, what we've seen. Sorry, let me finish. What we've seen is that ISIL very often sells its oil, as I said, at the wellhead. So as it comes out of the ground, there's smugglers, there's middlemen, there's truckers who then take that through these established routes. Some of them, no doubt, probably lead to parts of Turkey. I can't categorically rule that out, but it's not what was implied, which is that the Turkish government is somehow complicit in this arrangement. That's just untrue.
But one moment.
Please,
the Russian Defense Ministry also, it has published many aerial images of what it says are oil trucks going into Turkey, and it has published exact locations and routes of how ISIL's oil flows into Turkey and where it goes from there. Is it information that the U.S. is interested in?
Is it information the U.S. is interested in? Look, we have our own ways of getting that information, of looking at that area, and it is our assessment that that is not true. I don't want to...
Are you saying it's not true that oil is being smuggled into Turkey?
No, again, let's be very clear, the allegations that were made today, which is that The Turkish government is complicit in oil smuggling from ISIL into Turkey. That's the allegations that were made out of Russia today, and that's what I'm rejecting. Whether there's some kind of illegal oil smuggling taking place around the border region, as I just said, that's been something that's been going on for decades. It's something we're taking steps to address, and frankly, we're hitting ISIL's oil production facilities or oil resources harder than ever in the past month or so. Dave?
I mean, you talk about a difficult border, but oil tankers travel by road.
Right.
It's not all that complicated to track oil tankers.
Right. Well, I don't want to. First of all, we did hit a convoy of these trucks a little while ago. The area, again, I don't want to get in for a tit for tat talking about these satellite photos.
The trucks are driven by civilians.
Sure. And we actually dropped leaflets in our efforts to avoid civilian casualties. We dropped leaflets to these truckers, letting them know that their trucks are going to be a target. But, again, I don't want to get into a tit for tat over the credibility of some of these photos. But our understanding is that this is very difficult terrain for convoys of trucks to pass easily.
Yeah, I just want to